today we're going to continue into chapter 5.1, and we're going to talk about the triangle angle sum theorem and the exterior angle theorem. So the triangle angle sum theorem tells us that the sum of the measures of the angles of a triangle is 180 degrees. So if I'm looking at the triangle ABC, the measure of angle A plus the measure of angle B plus the measure of angle C is going to give me 180 degrees. So then let's look at exterior angle theorem. So an exterior angle is formed by extending any one side of the triangle, and an exterior is always equal to the sum of the two non-adjacent interior angles. So here 1 is the exterior angle and 2 and 3 are the interior angles. Adjacent, remember, means next to. So 2 and 3 are non-adjacent to angle 1. So if we were to add 2 and 3 together, we would get the measure of angle 1. So our formula can be measure of angle 1 equals the measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 3. Okay, so let's use that information to find the measure of angle 1. If we're looking at number 1, we have all interior angles here. Now, back to the previous page, we know that every triangle has an interior angle measurement of 180 degrees. So the interior angle sum is 180 degrees. So we can set up our formula to be measure of angle 1 plus 24 degrees plus 37 degrees equals 180 degrees. That can be simplified to measure of angle 1 plus 61 degrees equals 180 degrees. And then now if I wanted to solve for measure of angle 1, I would subtract 61 degrees from both sides, giving me measure of angle 1 equals 119 degrees. Alright, so number 2, if I'm looking for angle 1, I can see that angle 1 is not an interior angle this time, it's an exterior angle. And 76 degrees and 52 degrees are two non-adjacent angles. So here I can use the exterior angle sum, which would give me that those two angles non-adjacent, so 76 plus 52, will give me the measure of angle 1. So if I were to add those together, I should get the measure of angle 1. And so I can set up my equation to be measure of angle 1 equals 76 degrees plus 52 degrees, which can be simplified to measure of angle 1 equals 128 degrees. Alright, so for the third one, go ahead and pause the video and try this one on your own. So here we are given that angle 1 is an interior angle, and then the other two angles that we have, one is an interior and one is an exterior. So hopefully you were able to use the exterior angle sum to tell you that measure of angle 1 plus 79 degrees is going to give you 104 degrees. So you can set up your equation to be 104 equals 79 plus measure of angle 1. Now, if we're going to solve for measure of angle 1, we would subtract 79 from both sides, giving us measure of angle 1 is equal to 25 degrees. Alright, so now we want to solve for x, then we want to find each angle measurement. So in order to do this, let's just take a quick look at our triangle here, and I notice that all of these angles are interior angles. So whenever we have all interior angles, we can use the interior angle sum, which we know is 180 degrees. So we can add up each of those angles and set it equal to 180 degrees. When we do that, we will get 5x minus 2 plus 9x plus 3 plus 11x minus 21 equals 180. If at any time you need to pause the video because I'm going too fast, please go ahead and do so. All right, so if we were to simplify that, we would get 25x minus 20 equals 180. Simplified further, we would add 20 to both sides, giving us 25x equals 200. Now we want to undo what's being done to x and divide by 25 on both sides, giving us x equals 8. So now that we have x equal to 8, we can go ahead and plug in 8 for every x that we have to solve for each of our angle measurements. When we do that, for measure of angle D, we have x already plugged in, so 8 is plugged in for x here, and we have 5 times 8 minus 2, which is equal to 40 minus 2, which is 38. So measure of angle D is 38 degrees. For measure of angle E, we'll plug in 8, and we should get 9 times 8 plus 3 equals 72 plus 3, which equals 75 degrees. All right, our last one, go ahead and pause the video again. Plug in 8, see what you get for your final angle measurement. All right, so hopefully you paused the video and you got your final measurement for measure of angle F. Should be 67 degrees. All right, so then just to double check, we have 38 plus 75 plus 67 equals 180 degrees. Hopefully you can all see that okay. Cuts off a little bit there. All right, so let's move on. Next, we want to solve for x and then find each angle measurement. So in order to do this, we have 2 interior angles and we have 1 exterior angle. So now we know that those 2 interior angles added together is going to give us our exterior angle. So we're going to solve for x. So we're going to use the exterior angle sum, which is going to help us solve for x. So 18x minus 15, that is our exterior angle. 13x minus 11 and 4x plus 1, those are our interior angles. So we're going to add those together and that's going to give us our exterior angle. Okay, so we can set up our equation to look like 18x minus 15 is equal to 13x minus 11 plus 4x plus 1. If we were to simplify that, we'd get 18x minus 15 equals 17x minus 10. Now we're going to subtract 17x on both sides, which will give us x minus 15 equals negative 10. Now let's add 15 to both sides, and we should get x equals 5. So x is equal to 5, so then now that we have that, we can solve for the rest of our angles and just plug in the value of x into each equation. So the measure of CAB, we're going to plug that in, and we should get 54. So we should get 54 degrees. So next, what I want you to do is just go ahead and plug in x equals 5 for the next 2 angles and see what you get. All right, so hopefully you paused the video and you found that measure of ABC gives you 21 degrees. The measure of ACB gives you 105 degrees. And now let's look at this last one. We have the measure of DCB. That is our exterior angle. So we're going to plug that in and we'll get 18 times 5 minus 15 equals 75. So we'll get 75 degrees.